So, what is employment? What is a job? And how are jobs created? Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to Aldi Mastery. I'm Llewellyn Devereaux, the show where we talk about economics, business, and all things frontier knowledge, right? Now, today, as I've said, we want to understand from an economics perspective, what is a job? What is employment? Like every single time we keep hearing about the unemployment rate, employment this, employment that, jobs this, bringing jobs back. But what actually are jobs and how are jobs created? Because I think people don't understand how jobs are actually created. So let's jump into it, right? So the first thing that we have to understand is that let's define the word job or employment, right? And so what Google is saying is that a job is a regular pay position or a specific task performed by an individual, usually within a structured role to earn income. It encompasses tasks, duties, and responsibilities which can range from full-time, part-time, or freelance, often serving as a component of a career path or specific short-term role. Okay? So understanding layman's terms, a job is a place you go to or something that you do in exchange for putting your job in terms of your time and energy and your skill set, you get paid an income. That's how jobs are. That's really the whole situation. And with that income, you buy stuff and you live life. And ultimately, you have a job to have a living. That's ultimately what jobs are. Now, the question is, how are they created? And the first thing I want to start with is that governments and companies do not create jobs. Okay? Companies and governments do not create jobs. Now, obviously, people say this all the time, and some know, companies create jobs, not governments. But actually, to be honest with you, governments and companies indirectly create jobs, but they do not directly create jobs. So what creates jobs? What creates jobs is customers. Customers create jobs. Okay? And what is this mechanism that they work on? Let's go into how this whole situation works. If you, as a person, have a lemonade stand and you decide one day you want to have a lemonade stand and you ultimately are creating lemonade or you're selling lemonade to other people because of maybe it's hot where you live, whatever the situation is. So you decide as a person, you ultimately want to have a lemonade stand. So then as a result of that, every single day you're selling about 5 odd lemonades to people, right? You have 5 customers. Now understand something. We have to talk about the concept called demand and supply. Demand is basically based on what people want, and supply is what you as a person offer to other people. So when people want your lemonade and they're craving your lemonade because it's hot, you have demand. What you do as a company or as a person is you supply that demand with your lemonade. So this is how the situation works. Always remember demand and supply. But like I said to you, customers create jobs. So as it is, you as a person sell your 5 lemonades every single day. It's okay. It's not an issue. You're fine on your own. You're sourcing the lemons. You're creating it in your kitchen and you're going to your stand and you're selling it to 5 people a day. 100% it makes sense. You're making your money, great. But what happens when you decide one day you want to go on TikTok and your TikTok blows up right now? Everybody and their mama knows that you sell lemonade now. What happens? You go from selling 5 lemonade cups to maybe 200 in a day. Now you have an issue because now you have a demand situation where people want your product, they want your lemonade, but for the most part, your supply is low because you can't source the material, source the ingredients, make it in your kitchen, and then man the stand outside because now you've got lines around the corner to your house. So what do you need to do? In this instance, what you now do is that you go and you ultimately call your cousin or you call a couple of your friends and you say, guys, listen, I need help. Please help me with my lemonade stand. So maybe you get 5 or 10 people coming to you and they're helping you now with your lemonade stand to be able to supply the demand of 200 lemonade cups every single day. So what have you done by doing that? Because you've increased your customer base, you have been forced now to create what they call or what we call employment or jobs. You've now forced to get people to help you man your stand. You tell your friends and your cousins, I'll pay you a certain amount, and as a result of that, you have created a job. This is how it works because you have customers, you have demand, and you now have to go into the situation and create supply. Companies do not hire people because they like them or they're pretty or they're awesome, whatever. No, that's not how it works. Companies hire people because they have customers that they need to serve. And as a result of that, they need hands to help and man the situation to be able to supply the demand. Once again, demand and supply. Remember that whole situation. So when you understand, we need to look at the situation and understand that why do companies create jobs? We've spoken about that. But now, why do companies also then let go of people? Why do we have layoffs? Why do we have retrenchments? Why do people all of a sudden are unemployed because a company is struggling. Now, in Nokia's case, in 2005, Nokia was selling 260 million devices every single. Well, in 2005, that's how many they sold. They sold 265 million devices to people. They had 265 customers. Okay. Now, fast forward to 2015, Nokia, as a result of Apple coming into the market, Android coming into the market, they sold only about 30 million odd units or products or phones that year. As a result of this entire process, because of people coming in and taking what we call market share, Nokia had to then slash 7,500 jobs. They had to get rid of 7,500 people. Why? Because their customer base decreased. And when customers decrease, when customers change or customers go away, as a result of the company, it becomes smaller because it was bringing less money into the situation, into the company. And as a result of that, they had to let people go because people that are in the company are now a cost. They are an expense to the company. So the company has to then shed employees, cut employment, cut staff to make sure that they remain profitable or try navigate the storm in case they do something. We don't know what they wanted to do, but for the most part, we know Nokia's story, they died. As a result of that, jobs were shed. So you need to understand this concept when I'm talking about the fact that as a result of a loss in customers, a company then has to lose people and let people go. Now, in terms of customers, you as a person can either be selling to people in terms of having a B2C company, or you can have a B2B, being a company and selling to other companies. So as a result of that, a business can become a customer of another business. Whereas B2C, business to consumer, is where you have human beings, individual human beings coming to you and you sell your products to them. This is how it works. Now, another thing also is that no matter how you can have a registered company or business that runs, whatever the situation is, without customers, you actually have no business. You have no revenue, you have no money, you're just a shell company that's been registered. No one knows who you are, no one cares what you're doing, no one cares what you're about. So customers create business. So customers directly create jobs. Businesses are the vehicle by which jobs are created. Okay? So when it comes down to governments, what is the role of governments? Now, governments, people are going about, no, government is to create jobs. No. A government's job is to create an enabling environment for business or buyers to find sellers. Okay? So the government creates an enabling environment for customers to exist and for businesses to be able to have products and services to sell to those customers, whether customers are businesses or they are human beings. Now, governments do this by service delivery. They're making sure that we have electricity, we have water, it's safe, there's no crime, and so on and so forth. And so government, as a government, they will then hire people to then execute the service delivery mandate to consumers. Because let's be honest, no matter how great your lemonade stand is, how great your lemonade is, if you are living in a crime-ridden area and crime-ridden environments, people aren't going to care about lemonade because A, they don't have electricity, B, they don't have water. They don't care about products you're selling because the government has not created an enabling environment for business to happen. And that's why they always talk about governments always having to make sure that they create stability. Businesses love the word stability because stability says to them that they know that there's going to be power, there's going to be electricity, there's going to be water, there's going to be service delivery. They know that people are going to be in a very comfortable place, in a very happy place where they can start going to higher needs, which is wanting to buy products and services from governments, from companies, and ultimately you and your lemonade stand. So understand this. We as citizens are the ones who pay with our rates and taxes to governments, giving them their, in terms of revenue, in terms of their revenue that they get from us via taxes to create an enabling environment for business. This is how the world works. This is how we have what is known as an economy. If there is no economy, if there's no customers, there is no business, there is no economy. This is how economies are created. Okay? So as a result of it, when it comes down to election time, governments then come to us and sell to us their manifesto or what they want to change because they are now selling to us. We are the politicians, we are their customers. And when we elect them into power, they then form a government. And they basically, their job and their role is to then make sure that they serve us as citizens to create an enabling environment. This is how it works. We are their customers. And they, come election time, sell to us. They become salespeople about what they want to do, their vision for the country, where they want things to go, and so on and so forth. As a result of that, they then form a government that allows us to have businesses and live our lives with our families, doing what we do, buying stuff all over the place. Okay? So now we have to understand the role of marketing. The role of marketing in any company is to then be able to go out or create campaigns to introduce your products and services to potential customers out there. All right. If you don't do marketing, you will not have customers. Why? Because customers will not know that you exist. And if you don't have customers, like I said to you, you don't have a business. You can't create jobs. So as a result of marketing helps companies and businesses introduce their product and services to other customers. As a result of that, they then achieve a thing called growth. Okay? And this is what companies do every single day. They make sure that via sampling or via advertising, we know the product is through billboards, through social media, TV advertising, traditional media, magazines, radio. They make sure that everything. That's why every single time there's always constant adverts, always going on about advertising and marketing, because marketing is designed to introduce products to potential customers. Okay, this is the whole point of it. So this is where the we get into the concept of competition, right? So when one company decides that as a result they have Adidas and Nike, they as a result compete for the same customer, and so they fight for what they call market share. So they're fighting for customers, and so they have to kind of appeal via their positioning strategies to customers to be able to say, guys, don't buy from Nike, buy from me if I'm Adidas. Or Pepsi, don't buy from Coca-Cola, buy from me. Because people are competing for the same customers. This is the concept of competition, right? And so governments want to create an enabling environment where companies are also competing for customers and for market share, because it keeps them competitive. If a company is competitive, it innovates, it finds new ways to create products or innovate and create new things out there for people to buy. This is how the world comes together. So this is now when we hear the role of investment. When companies talk about they're investing in infrastructure, investing in technology, investing in these kind of things, what they're doing is that they're investing in a future customer. Okay, they know that, okay, cool, right now we can produce this specific amount of products and services, and for us to be able to anticipate the growth that we're going to achieve in the next 5 years, we need to invest today. So we must increase our plants, increase our factories. We're McDonald's, we want to basically increase our McDonald's stores and make sure that we're able to then serve customers. So this is the whole point of investment. Investment is all about making sure that a company is investing for future what you call future customers. So you and your lemonade stand, you decide you have 200 people now buying your lemonade. You decide you want to add another street. You decide you want to go and realize that lemonade is going to boom in the next 2-3 years. So you decide to invest in more machinery. You invest in more cash points or whatever payment points. You invest in more people, train more people to be able to handle the demand that's coming. Because remember something, you as a company are supplying to a demand. If there is no demand, there is no supply. And this is where the concept of technology comes in. So what happens with companies that they realize that, okay, cool, let's look at the case of McDonald's, right? They say, okay, cool, we have this many people that we're hiring. But then technology says, you don't need to hire this many people, this many cashiers anymore. We can have systems now in place that allow you for people to come and create self-service situations or kiosks in the store. As a result of that scenario, technology then takes away from people's jobs, because technology then says to the company, we don't need all these people anymore. Hence why it's so scary for companies now when it comes to the innovation of robots, right, and AI, because everything about technology has always been about coming for blue-collar jobs, right? But now AI is coming for white-collar jobs. So your lawyers, your finance people in finance are going to be struggling, because now AI is able to do the job that they were doing before. So companies are going to shed more jobs because they can serve their customers better with less employees, which means there's less jobs, which means that there's more revenue, because now every single person who works in your company has to be paid. This is how the situation works. So the final point I want to let you guys know about is what the role of geopolitics is, right? What is the role of G20 summits, of all these things that people go to, G7 summits, whatever, where companies or countries basically engage in bilateral trade, right? So what happens that now, as companies try to get customers, governments, as a result, go to other countries to tell other companies in other countries that their country is investable in a sense that they've got an enabling environment that allows companies to come there, and they've got a good market, they've got a good consumer base that allows those companies to want to come and set up shop and factories in their country. This is the whole point of geopolitics. The governments want to go and be able to tell other companies and let them know that they're ready and they're able to do business. And so it attracts more investment into the country, it attracts more investment, it attracts more companies coming in and therefore setting up shop, hiring more people, hiring their people in that country, and therefore decreasing the unemployment rate. So this is the whole point of how jobs are created. Jobs are created by customers. They are not created by business or by governments. Business and governments, or business is the vehicle by which jobs are created, but customers are the ones that create jobs. So when you decide that you want to have a lemonade stand tomorrow, make sure the first thing you do is seek out customers. That is the first and most important thing. That's what it is. The customer is always right. This is why this whole concept came through. And that's basically it. Hope you learned something today. Boom.